Oh, screw it. I'm just gonna do this. Hello world. Um, this is technically not my first video, but I didn't like the last one, so I said fuck it. Uh, just ignore that one. Uh, I'm making this video because I didn't see anything on Google. I didn't see anything on YouTube. The progressive left is completely silent. The obviously the Trumpers are losing their minds, like they always do, because they're snowflakes. Uh, but I figured by the time I got all my stuff together, like I wouldn't want to do this video anymore. So I'm like, screw it. I'm not gonna let all this stuff malfunctioning around me stop me from making this video, because it is important. I believe. So some of you that are friends on Facebook, even those on Twitter, although I'm not as active there anymore, may have seen me, you know, basically thinking out loud about what in the entire fuck is going on right now. Um, and I, I honestly still trying to figure that out. But it's safe to say I've moved beyond the beta stage of uh, uh, my own geopolitical theory of everything, so to speak. But um, basically, everyone that's like in their in their conservative and liberal bubbles are not everyone, but the vast majority at this point are basically FUBAR. They're beyond all reasoning at this point. Um, Basically after this whole stunt, like I'm done with the whole Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservative, just insanity at this point. Like it's all I'm about to like break that shit up out the frame here in a second, because these fucking just, oh my god, I don't even know where to start. Uh, Basically, guess what? Trump is not my president. Trump is not your president. He's nobody's president. George W. Bush is your president. The country that we used to know has not existed for a long time, probably before the Patriot Act and George W. Bush, but that was the quickening of it. See, basically, this Trump guy is oh, kind of like a court jester, the way I see it. They they roll them out when they're in damage control mode, and they have their Trump shape in case of emergency break glass box, which they pulled totally with flawless victory. Um, and it's I'm actually kind of impressed. Like that's gonna be the one positive thing about George W. Bush that comes out of my mouth in this fucking video. But I'm actually kind of impressed. Kudos. You have successfully completed what you failed to do in your 2 terms. Well, your first 2 terms, as we should say. Um, uh, but yeah, George W. Bush is your president. The country ended at least on September 11th, 2001. The terrorists won. They won. We're fucked. We lost. We're fucked. Um, Basically, America does not exist anymore. Calling it the United States of America at this point is like calling North Korea a democratic people's republic. We've got states, entire states right now that want to secede from the country and become their own thing. It's basically what's low key going on here, because like their whole Trump psyop has gone off without a hitch. The country is firmly divided along lines of whether you support Trump or support the Obama administration, and it's totally Bush behind all this. Like it totally is. I cannot believe like there's some small pockets here and there on Twitter, and there's some people on Facebook that are they're open-minded, they're thinking for themselves, but they're still like in this whole my politician could beat up your politician fucking BS. Uh, and this is very similar to how the Roman Empire descended. It devolved into petty, political backstabbing schemes and personality cults, and ever since ever since I want to say like for a long time, probably since the 1900s. Uh, when the media became like a thing, like political campaigning and stuff became a thing. I may have the date wrong. It might be give or take here and there, but basically, like when the media became involved, when the free press became a thing of the past, basically, because there was no more free press after that. All the newspapers and all that became conglomerated into gigantic political entities. Um, but it began to accelerate in the next century, in the 20th century. Um, uh, 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 20th century. It accelerated throughout that century and culminated in what we have now. Um, because the last instance of a president winning the election despite losing the popular vote was in the late 1800s, and that did not happen again until 2000. Guess who that was? Guess who was elected then? So basically, I'm done. I'm done. Y'all can, rip each other apart, be unwitting accomplices in personality cults. Because at this point, it isn't. To me, I don't see Democrats versus Republicans. I see Hamas versus Al Qaeda. That's what we're dealing with here. These people do not represent the United States of America. They have done everything in their power to divide us by everything, everything. Like there's too many to list. I would be going on for like 2 minutes straight listing all of the things that they divide us on, and like at this point, I identify as a Tennessean. Like this country doesn't exist anymore. Country, I should say corporation, because it it's run by corporations. Like there's no way around it. These personality cults that they put out to hoodwink everybody and their divide and conquer schemes are, as far as I'm concerned, terrorist organizations. They're terrorist organizations. They're terrorists. They're domestic terrorist organizations. On one side you have Nazis, on the other side you have communists. They're terrorists. They're like, why, like, it just doesn't seem like it's something that's that difficult to grasp, and yet it is, because it just like it's absurd how just militantly ignorant people are becoming, and have probably been for a long, they've probably been that way for a long time, and they just had this Trump machine that they rolled out, for damage control, and it worked. It worked. It went off without a hitch. Like, and everybody started becoming screeching baboons. Like they know. Like I'm starting to think like the whole DMT spirit molecule stuff. It is something that they're aware of, and they use it to they weaponize it against it. And when I say they, I don't mean like they're all in on it. What I mean is basically the Bush family, basically a royal family. They're American royalty at this point, and Bush is still president. And I'm going to keep coming back to that. But basically, the American empire uh, uh, has vassal states. Um, there's specifically the NATO countries and Israel, um, and North Korea. Like they have they totally like if they wanted Kim gone, he would be gone, like that. Like if they can get rid of Osama bin Laden, they can get rid of Kim Jong Un. So they're vassal states. We have vassal states all over the world. Um, it's not the Rothschilds, not even the Rockefellers. It's the Bush family. The Bush family and the Saudi royal family rule the world right now. That there's no other way to say it. They rule the world. The Bush family, the Saudi royal family, to a lesser extent the British royal family, but they've been on the decline for the past few decades as the American imperialism comes to replace it. And I'm not bashing America here. Actually, I'm supporting America by pointing out that this is not the nation state that we were taught about in schools. This is not the country that we think we grew up in. The country that we learned about as the United States of America does not exist anymore. It has not existed for a long time. However long that may be is really, as an American who grew up here and was educated by American textbooks about America, like we can't really trust anything that they say at this point, because this whole like at this point your guess is as good as mine. I don't know shit. You don't know shit. Nobody knows shit because we're fucking brainwashed. And George W. Bush is still president. Everyone that has been president since him in any administration has been his vassals, his despots, or his court jesters, of which Trump is the latest. And I'm sorry, if it's more comfortable for you to remain inside your thought bubble, that's fine. But I knew I'm more afraid of what will happen if I don't make this video than if I do at this point. And there it is. Every election we've had since 2000 has been make-believe. Democracy doesn't exist in this country, probably hasn't existed for a long time, probably for before I was born, and probably even a lot of other people that are watching this. Yeah, that's like piecing together what I've been studying over the past decade, going in and out of various right-wing and left-wing circles and collecting what information is sane after sifting through all this bullshit. I figured the least I could do is make a somewhat educational video, part rant to venting, to get all the shit out of my head. But yeah, there it is. George W. Bush, if not George H.W. Bush, basically created a dictatorship, a revolving door dictatorship, where his family would benefit, as well as the ideology, the extremist, racist, nativist, ultra-nationalist ideology that was espoused by his predecessor, i.e. Ronald Reagan, who was probably the most monstrous president we've had since Andrew Jackson. And like it didn't go away with the end of the Cold War. It just accelerated. Like the whole, like, so much of modern history to me just seems like BS now. Like it like we really can't be sure. Like we can't be like, this is the way things are. even me saying that George W. Bush was never really left office. I mean, he left office, but he never relinquished his power, is what I'm saying. There is a shadow presidency. There really is a shadow government, and it's not the deep state. It's not the intelligence community. It's not this shadowy globalist organization, and they're out there, but they're not the ones in power. The ones in power are way worse. Way worse. Like we're talking like these people are on the same mindset as the personality cult of the Kim regime. These people are on the same level of the radicalization and extremism of Al Qaeda and ISIS. These are the people that we are dealing with. The only difference is that they're not Muslims, they're Christians. They're not Middle Easterners, they're white Americans, mostly white. And that we've got to face facts. Like voting is not going to change dick. Protesting is not going to change dick, especially with this pandemic, which I'm starting to really think that this it wasn't engineered in a lab, but there's something going on. Like there was some human crap that made this worse. The human shit is all over this right now, and I'm starting to think like yeah, Mother Nature is merciless, and she'll just wipe us all out without a sigh. That's why I'm starting to think that, like, see, I'm torn between, like, if it were like a bioterrorist attack, like we'd all be dead right now. Like if it were a bioterrorist attack, a bioweapon unleashed on us by another nation state, we would almost certainly be dead right now. But there, I'm not saying that this didn't originate in a wet market or something, but there could have been weapons labs in Spain, in Italy, in the United States that were timed to release as this pandemic was spreading, and thus make it worse. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the communist Chinese are trying to take over the world. What I'm saying is that the United States and its allies, or should I say colonies, in NATO and the European Union could have timed this to release as this pandemic was heating up, so there would be no way to tell. It's not rocket surgery. It's really not. Like the stuff that they deal with is way more complicated than this. It's I'm not a genius. I'm not a very smart person. But I'm not a dumbass, and I wasn't born at last. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. I suck at speaking too. On top of all of that, definitely gonna need a better messenger. If anyone cares about this, subscribe to my YouTube, D. Compton Ambrose. I'm on Twitter, also D. Compton Ambrose. You can search D. Compton Ambrose and find me. But I'm not even, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a policy wonk or anything like that. I'm just a concerned artist.